Excellent, thank you. I am going to call to order this Board of Education meeting. It is Monday, January 30th, 2023. It is not 6 p.m. as our agenda states because we ran over in our other meeting. It is 6:54. I want to thank everybody for hanging out until this meeting started. We're going to do something interesting today, but first I want to do the roll call, and then Ms. Raymond will do the prayer, and I will quickly have all the students in the back lead us in the pledge. Okay? Okay.
Okay, thank you. And we'll just have you guys say the pledge really loud when it's time so that the microphone picks it up. All right, Ms. Darling?
Here.
Okay, Ms. Raymond, I'm here. Mr. Claffey?
Here.
Ms. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Oden?
Here.
Okay, Ms. Lampier is not here this evening, which is why I am doing the clerk. Ms. Johnson?
Present.
Ms. Bishop?
Here.
Ms. Giglio?
Here.
Dr. Andrade? Dr. Sarfty, I saw. Mr. Pasca? Mr. Donovan? And I saw Ms. Duffy. We also have our student members of the board, Mr. Farley.
Here.
And Mr. Castellano.
Here.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I spelled it right. Okay, and the prayer. Almighty God, we have the high honor and the serious duty of managing the educational institutions of our beloved city. In our common endeavors, may we find a spirit of unity and understanding which will enable us to face our multiple problems with an objective mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will be for the betterment and greater happiness of all our fellow citizens. Amen.
Amen.
Please rise.
Ready? On your mark, get set, go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I love that. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to just quickly shuffle around the agenda. After the presentation tonight, we're going to go straight into HR because we missed the committee. We're just bringing it to the full board. Ms. Duffy will come down and participate in that. But right now, us board members are going to scooch our buns into the seats there, and we're going to let the students from Ledge Street, Fairgrounds, and Maine Dunstable come down here and do their science elementary presentation.
Great, thank you so much. First, I want to shout out to our students who have been waiting for 1 whole hour and their parents who came to watch them. You were so great waiting for us, so thank you so much. And I want to thank Mrs. Tino, who is our K-8 science coach. She is the one who organized this amazing presentation that we're all going to enjoy tonight. In addition, we also have Mrs. Crocker from Ledge Street, we have Mrs. Fant from Fairgrounds, and we also have Mrs. Dillon from Maine Dunstable. And so I guess I'm going to let the kids take it away, and everybody enjoy this amazing presentation.
All right, great. So thank you for having us. Into the microphone. No. You can. It just doesn't pick up. So thank you for having us, Mrs. Crocker from Ledge Street. The children are going to start. They wrote scientific arguments. They had to choose which was going to be the better solution to the problem of not having enough electricity in an imaginary town. They had to decide either solar panels or wind turbines, and then after they made their claim, they had to give their reasons. So we're just going to take turns reading their scientific arguments.
Hello, I'm PZ, and my recommendation is that Ergstown should install wind converters, even though they may harm birds and bother people. They are cheaper than solar panels. There is no pollution, and it produces 47 units of electricity on our SIM program. Dangerous chemicals are used when they make solar panels, and solar panels take up a lot of land. The mayor said the solution should be cheap, and buying land costs a lot of money. In my opinion, wind turbines should be installed in Earthtown.
Hello, I am Aurelia, and my recommendation is for Ergstown is that they should add wind turbines to make more electricity. They have no pollution, and it's what the government wanted. The mayor also wanted it to be cheap, and wind turbines are not expensive. It is often windy in Ergstown, and they should add them to the mountains or the hills because that's where more wind will be for the wind turbines. They may make noise, but it will be far away from the people, and they may hurt some birds, but not all of them. And getting electricity to the people is more important. I also know that it produces 47 units of electricity in our simulation. And that electricity gets transferred to the transfer station, then to the homes. In my opinion, we should add wind turbines. I believe they are safer than solar panels, because solar panels use dangerous chemicals and they use a lot of land and they are also expensive.
I recommend that Ergstown should install wind turbines. I think this because they often have windy days. They also have stormy days, so there's a lot of wind during the storms. I also know this from the climate report they gave us. I also know that solar panels use a lot of land and take up a lot of space. Therefore, there is less space for the animals to live. My other reason for not recommending solar panels is that they use dangerous chemicals when they make the panels in the factory. Another reason I recommend wind turbines is that there's no pollution with them. My last reason is that they're cheap. One of the mayor's criteria was that the solution be inexpensive. There's more sun than wind in Ergstown, but solar panels are more expensive than wind turbines. Even though they can harm birds, I still think wind converters are the best solution.
So here we have our electrical system that we made in our classroom. We have this solar panel that we use and we have a lamp that we use to shine the light onto the solar panel, and that light gets transferred to electrical energy.
And then from the motor, from the panel, the electricity gets transferred through the wires to the motor, which spins the fan.
The electricity makes the motor spins, which spins the fan, just to make just to make the fan work.
Yep. So do we have enough energy from the light to make our fan work today?
No.
So what can work today? So you did a little bit of experimenting while people were setting up. So what does work today?
The light works.
So you want to show that?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk? We'll talk a minute about our symposium that we held after we finished up our unit. Do you want to explain what the symposium is?
So a symposium is something where some people from one group gathers up with more people from another group, and they have a scientific argument, and they just go back and forth. And sometimes they would come up with better plans, or they would they would agree with the other people.
The symposium was very fun, and I really liked it. When I went on the stage, I was kind of nervous, and I kept on looking away from how many faces was down there.
When we were up on the stage on the at the symposium, it was a bit nerve-wracking when we saw all the people there, because there was a lot of people. And so I was a bit nervous, so I just looked back far away from the people, and then I kind of relaxed, and I realized that all my friends were there, and I was having a scientific argument with other people, and it really got my brain moving, and I had a lot of ideas, and I was able to have the scientific argument.
What I really like about Amplify is when we get to do activities more spaced out to try out what we learned.
These are my fabulous students from Maine Dunstable, and they are going to teach you what they just learned about modeling matter.
In this unit, we took oil and water.
We shook it and it mixed. We shook it and it mixed.
But suddenly, the oil and the water separated. So why don't
Oil and water mix.
for a long time?
Is there a solution for that? Let's find out.
We can use a emulsifier.
Okay, let's find out how this works on the nanoscale. We are going to explain why the salad dressing does not mix.
As we're showing you, the oil and vinegar don't mix with one another.
The vinegar and oil molecules don't attract to each other, but instead it has a higher attraction to itself.
Over time, the oil and vinegar had time to separate from each other, and you can see how it formed.
Next, you are going to see how it forms with an emulsifier.
So as you saw, the vinegar and oil do not mix on their own, but
when you add an emulsifier such as lecithin,
the two mix and stay together better, and let us show you what we mean.
So as you see with the vinegar and the lecithin and oil, the lecithin has more clumps of both of the oil and vinegar molecules together than when there's not really that much lecithin nearby, because lecithin is an emulsifier.
Yeah, and the lecithin will attract the molecules to itself, making it look like it was mixed.
So if you want to make a salad dressing, you can use an emulsifier to make it look appetizing.
Thank you so much to all of our students who presented tonight. We are so incredibly proud of you. I know Mrs. Tino always talks about the difference between science enrichment and science instruction. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is science instruction in action. And certainly thank you to all of our educators here tonight. Without you, this wouldn't be possible.
All right, guys, you're gonna go sit, okay?
Okay, excellent. That was the best meeting ever. Okay, I will hand the floor over to our science coach.
So, yeah, like, they're not done yet. We got part two.
I know. I totally forget your name because I didn't ask.
Monica Tino.
Monica Tino. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for being here, and
Sure.
the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, yes, thank you for having us tonight. That was very fun. I'm just here for an Amplify update or a science update. So the next thing on our list here is on the February 20th workshop day. Amplify Science is sending one of their instructional leaders over to our school district for 2 different workshops, one for the elementary level, one for the middle school level on assessment. So we're looking forward to that. This spring, the things that we're looking forward to, we have new coaching cycles starting now from grades 4 to 8. We're starting to look at some assessment data as it's coming in. We have student engagement, professional development happening at the middle school level. We have continued support for 3rd and 4th grade implementation with get-together meetings, et cetera. And we are going to start teaching an Amplify unit, the 2 coaches, myself and Angela St. Lawrence, a kindergarten unit at Maine Dunstable and a 2nd grade unit at Mount Pleasant this school year, kind of test them out for our soft rollout next year in grades K to 2, where teachers will have the option to opt into using the materials and the lessons with coach support. So just again, we're using the Next Gen Science standards. Our kids are engaging in the science practices. That's what they're doing. They're learning the content. That's what they know. And they're thinking using the cross-cutting concepts. And that was pretty evident tonight with the kids. They wrote all of those things themselves. We didn't write them for them or coach them in any way. And you can really see that their 3D learning and their thinking is definitely there. So we're pretty excited. And Amplify Science, of course, is our resource, our high-quality resource that we have, and I just wanted to say thank you for it because we're getting these results that we are with the kids, really thinking and really understanding and then using that information that they're learning and those skills that they're learning in their everyday lives, which is the ultimate goal of education. So we're pretty excited. So thank you very much.
I just wanted to add one thing. So last year, Mrs. Tino asked me, she was the science coach at the elementary level, and she approached me and she said, can I become the science coach K to 8? And then we hired another science coach who also tackles K to 8. And I just want to acknowledge the tremendous amount of work that these 2 ladies put into everything that they do every single day. Well, actually, not even K to 8. We're really pre-K to 8 now, right? It's a lot of work, and obviously, our coaches are pretty amazing, so I just want to make sure that I name that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, well, thank you so much for getting all of those kids together. That was no easy feat, but we are super excited when we get to see that happen. Oh, we have more teachers back there. Thank you for coming, guys. Thank you. Okay, so I'm actually looking at the agenda. Let's hold off on flipping committee stuff around. We'll just we'll stay on the agenda. We'll just do the HR in the agenda, okay? Okay, so Nobody signed up for first public comment. So Dr. Andrade, oh, geez, Louise. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Oh, Ms. Julia was very excited about seconding that. Okay. So all those in favor of accepting the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. It was
One, two,
Lampier, Johnson, and Brown.
No.
Darling.
Darling.
What did I say?
Lampier.
Oh, geez, Louise.
I guess I'm Megan Lampier now.
Yeah, you're a whole different person tonight. Sorry about that.
It's all good. Keep them coming.
Right? Okay, so any items to add to the consent agenda? I didn't see any this week. Okay. No first public comment. Dr. Andrade, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So that's definitely a hard act to follow. I want to thank Dr. Softy and Ms. Tino for arranging that wonderful presentation tonight. A couple quick updates. So last week, Dr. Softy, Adam Marcoux, and a teacher from Pennachuck Middle School and I had the opportunity to attend the AFT 2023 Community School Conference. The multiple days together of learning, exploring, were extremely powerful and productive. The community school model and the pillars around them of how do we expand the supports for our students are around how do we talk about what does integrated student supports look like, expanded and enriched learning time, family and community engagement, and collaborative leadership practices based on a strong foundation of relational trust. I look forward to working with the NTU, our administration, and our community partners as we journey down this road. Again, it was a really wonderful opportunity to collaborate with the NTU, Dr. Softy and Chelsea from the middle school, and really exploring what is the possibilities around the greater Nashua School District's community. So really looking forward to future conversations, and I think we're planning on providing the board a full presentation in the upcoming months as we start having these conversations. Along those lines, I'm happy to invite you. Tomorrow, we'll be launching a public safety cadet academy at the high schools in partnership with the Nashua Police Department. Over the last couple months, the police department, several lieutenants, sergeants have been working with the high school administration on developing a course around certain proficiencies that will be a pathway into the police academy in the next couple months if the students want to pursue it. I have never seen so many police officers happy to write reports and competencies. So it's also quite, we have to put the building on kind of notice in central office when 8 cruises show up to actually do some curriculum work in the superintendent's office. We have to say this is not a drill, this is actually planning, but it's really, again, another opportunity of working with incredible community resources to provide pathways and resources to our students in a way that could give back to the community. So we're really looking forward to that. So it kicks off tomorrow during E-Block at 10 o'clock. If anyone's available to join me, I'll be more than happy to walk. So it's at South tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I also want to update the community, the Junior ROTC. The U.S. Air Force has awarded Bryson Baromeo, North Class of 2023, a member of the Junior ROTC program at North, a full scholarship to any college of his choice that offers an Air Force ROTC program. Bryson is one of 100 cadets selected nationwide to earn the distinguished scholarship. The rigorous criteria for eligibility includes achieving top SAT and fitness scores, a full resume with challenging coursework, and a successful hour-long interview before a 6-member panel. For Nicholas Ellis, the U.S. Air Force Master Sergeant and Junior ROTC instructor at North, Bryson is the 2nd consecutive Junior ROTC student to win a full scholarship of his choice. So Bryson, we're very proud of you. Congratulations. And just for a couple comings and goings, I would like to take a moment to bring attention to 2 personnel changes in the school district. I have confidence in my recommendation to hire Yvette Hester as the Assistant Director of the National Technology Center. Ms. Hester brings with her great credentials and career in technical education, has a well-seasoned management experience and rehab programs serving adults and youth. I look forward to working with her. Additionally, after 18 years of service, sorry to have to say goodbye to Dave Rossio, our Transportation Director. By all accounts, he is our favorite bus guy and has served us well in a demanding field with many challenges that only New England weather can bring. So Dave has served thousands of students, thousands of family, thousands of students, and 8 superintendents in his career with the National School District. I'm sorry to be his last, but I wish him well in his latest endeavors as he moves forward in his career in transportation. Good luck, Dave. We will miss you. Thank you.
Thank you. Board response to superintendent's comments. We'll start over here with Ms. Darling.
No comment.
Thank you. Mr. Claffey? No. Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. Thank you for arranging to have the kids come in tonight. It was so exciting to see all of those students engaged and interested in science. And congratulations to Bryson B. there on his full scholarship. That's fantastic. And then I just have a question. You highlighted that you're recommending the hiring of an assistant director of CTE. Is that person coming to this board meeting or a future HR meeting for an interview with the board?
So typically, the board doesn't hire or interview the assistant directors. That's according to policy, but it would be more than happy to arrange a meeting with Ms. Hester to come in, but it has been past practice that no assistant directors have been in front of the board. It might be a loophole in the policy, but more than happy to bring her in. She's dynamic. I think in my memos to the board, I've been talking about we had a candidate coming forward, and we're finally able to secure her certification, but be more than happy to introduce her.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have no comments. Ms. Brown?
Congratulations to the whole ROTC program, JROTC, for being able to develop students of that caliber. That's fantastic. And welcome to the Assistant Director of CTE, and best wishes to Dave Rossio.
Ms. Oden?
Yeah, congratulations to Bryson Baramio. That boy, that's saving him a lot of money, and I'm sure it's well earned. So congratulations to him. And I want to thank Dave Rossio. I remember when he was hired, he's gone through some new bus routes. We had new software that he had to get used to. He's done a really good job, and it's going to be challenging to replace him. I wish you good luck with that, because he's part of Nashua at this point, but I want to wish him good luck in his next position. Thank you.
I want to say congratulations to Bryson and best wishes to Dave Rossio. I mean, whenever somebody's mad, who'd they call? The bus, the transportation, and where's my kids, where's the buses, what's going on here? It's going to be big shoes to fill for him, and I want to wish him the best in his next endeavor. Thank you.
Ms. Giglio?
Yeah, I want to congratulate Bryson as well, and I want to wish Dave Rossio good luck in his next endeavor. And I just want to point out how happy it is to start our meetings off like we did tonight's, with seeing what our students are doing. And it just, I don't know, it just sets a wonderful tone for the rest of our meeting. So thank you.
Thank you. This brings us up to student members of the board comments. I expect lots of sports updates, right?
Starting next month, I will be hosting meetings during E-Block. It will be an opportunity for North students to discuss problems, questions, and concerns. These meetings will take place before the Friday before the Board of Education meetings. The first planned meeting will be Friday the 17th during E-Block in the Career Center. Also starting next month, in all the student body classrooms, Google Classrooms, the Board of Education meeting agenda link will be posted for students to look over and read. Hopefully, this will be an opportunity for North students to know and understand what we're going to talk about in the future meetings. I'm looking forward to see how these programs will develop and what they will turn into. Hopefully, these will become two very valuable resources to the students of Nashua North. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So yeah, I do have a few sports updates. So today, well, for Battle of the Bridge, let's start with that. For basketball, unfortunately, yesterday the boys did win for North versus South, but then South girls won. Well, happened before, but South girls won. And then I know today there was an ice hockey game versus Portsmouth, and I believe they won 5-2, South. Oh, today. Yeah, today it was.
Which day?
Which day?
Which day?
They. Oh, South beat Portsmouth 5-2. Yes. Other than that, I know Unified Basketball played today as well. Swimming, they have an event, I think, right around now. And then gymnastics as well. Another update just in terms of clubs, I think I told you guys about it last time. Planet Earth Club, we've been fundraising for TerraCycle boxes, which, just as a quick reminder, basically allow you to recycle or collect some normally non-recyclable items to be recycled. So like snack wrappers is what we're doing. And so we've raised enough money to get a box, and that box has actually come in. So we plan on putting that in the cafeteria pretty soon to get students starting to collect those items. Another thing, Penguin Plunge, it's coming up February 11th. I'll be participating in that as well at Hampton Beach. The past couple years, it was a bit different. In my freshman year, we did basically just cold water, ice water, getting dumped on top of you. At South, though. So, and then last year, we had a dunk tank. So this year, it'll be a bit different. Probably not any warmer, but should be fun. And when I checked this morning, Nashua South, our team overall has raised $6,357, and this all goes for Special Olympics, I believe. So definitely a good cause. Just another general update. Course selection opened today, at least for South, and it closes, I believe, February 24th. I know juniors had a meeting with the counselors in the auditorium today. They're just giving some updates and stuff like that. And we will be all students will be having meetings with their counselors in the coming weeks, I believe, to work individually on selecting courses for next year. Although they do recommend getting started individually before those meetings. One other thing, I'm excited to meet with Dr. Andrade in the Student Voice next Friday, February 10th, during E-Block, to have kind of a joint meeting. I believe North Student Voice will be there as well, so that'll be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, the polar plunge. I'm not cool enough to do that. Not happening. The thing is, like, I could choose not to say those things, but I still do. Well, thank you guys for your comments. When are we expecting budget to start? When should I put that in my calendar? Next week? Just kidding.
March.
March? Okay. And then Committee on Finance and Operations, so I will hand the floor over to Ms. Johnson.
Thank you very much. I was planning to go on vacation in March, but I told my husband we can't go to Florida this year. I've got budget. We'll push it off to April.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Because, I covered for budget last year for a bit.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. I gave him the warning. I'm chair of the Budget Committee. I said that's an honor.
Okay.
So I said we're staying home.
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. Johnson.
Committee on Finance and Operations, we met January 17, 2023, right here in the boardroom. I move to approve the purchase of the uninterrupted power supply, UPS, from RTM for the Nashua High School South at a cost of $29,538.44 for the necessary upgrade for the district network infrastructure, funding to come from account 91.1.992225, 53628.
So moved.
Second.
Can you speak a little to this?
Okay, this has to do with the, this isn't the wiring, is it? No, no.
I believe this has to do with a redundancy backup for the data, and so that right now we're actually not in a good, we're actually not necessarily in a good place. This is going to put us into a much better position if everything loses power. It'll have uninterrupted data supply. So,
Yeah, safety in case we have shut down of service networking devices and other essential services. The battery backup is not a generator. I gotta get to my notes.
That's fine, thank you. So any questions or other comments on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, I move to approve the purchase of 330 webcams for the CDWG for the cost of $10,395, funding to come from account 91.1.992225, 61607.
Second.
Can you speak to what CDWG is?
I'm looking for my paperwork here, so I can make sure I'm exact.
That's the vendor's name?
Yep.
That's the name of the vendor.
This is what that's what they go by?
CDW.
Yep,
Yeah.
and it's for the webcams.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments or questions? No? All those in favor of approving, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
I move to approve the purchase of a Tomcat Pro Rider from Cleanorama of Gorham, Maine, in the amount of $12,784.80, funding to come from account 071999 miscellaneous equipment. And if anybody wants to know, this is to clean the floors.
So moved.
So moved.
This one was easy.
Yeah. Ms. Gilio, seconds. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
I move to approve the FY23 December budget transfers.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Ms. Raymond, I give the floor to you for Committee on Policy. When's the next Finance and Ops meeting, Ms. Johnson?
Let me get to my phone here. I have it right in.
Next Tuesday?
Tuesday,
Okay.
next
Tuesday
Tuesday?
the 7th.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Raymond, Committee on Policy.
Okay. Hang on one second. I have multiple things I'm trying to manage at one time again. So the first policy is I move to approve policy BBA, school powers and duties as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Darling. I was just trying to pull it up while we were talking.
Yeah, do you want to just speak a little bit to it? I know there was a whole meeting, but just a teeny tiny little recap.
Yeah, for some reason I can't get our meeting minutes to come up.
Here.
Can I ask a question regarding this policy?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I didn't see anything redlined. Is this just a reapproval of the previous policy?
Yep, this is a policy that hadn't been looked at since 2008, and so it was one that we were just reviewing to look at again.
But there were not any major changes?
There was no recommendation for changes, no.
All right.
And for some reason, I still can't get it. Okay, that's it. There's nothing else to say about it. It was a really boring one.
Okay. Those are I mean, that's the boring housekeeping that we have to do.
I finally got it open. Okay.
Okay. So all those in...
Second, Ms. Oden has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Oden?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was looking at the second page.
The appendix?
It's under establish a policy on sexual harassment, and it goes down. That's under J, 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes up to number 9.
Yep, that's the next, that's the next policy, policy BBA-R.
Oh, that wasn't the one you just...
There are two.
There's two. So there's BBA, which is just the one line, we have the powers and duties prescribed to them by the state and federal laws. And then BBA-R is the one with the lists of First Ed 303.1 or 01, and then the 9 things that we have to do. So right now, the motion is only for the first of the 3 pages, BBA.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. But I can answer your question if you want, or answer it in 5 seconds.
Are we going to be doing BBAR next?
Yes.
Oh, I'll wait until then. Thank you.
Okay. So Ms. Raymond made that motion, and who seconded it? Sorry.
Ms. Darling.
Ms. Darling, sorry. Okay, so all those in favor of approving policy BBA, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, so now I move that we approve policy BBA-R, which is the one with the lettered substantive duties based on 303.01, and then the items 1 through 9 when it comes to sexual harassment.
And Ms. Oden did have a question.
Okay, I just need a second.
Oh, sorry.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Oden. And just to speak to it a little bit, this, again, hasn't been updated since 2008. There was nothing significantly different legally that we could find, and the School Board Association didn't have any significant deviations from this policy either.
I had a suggestion on number 5, a prohibition against retaliation toward anyone involved in a complaint. I would like to see it read a prohibition against retaliation and/or harassment toward anyone involved in a complaint. I'd like to add the word harassment to that.
Okay.
Does administration have any qualms with that? Okay.
All right, so Ms. Oden, I'll just make it into a motion to amend.
Okay.
BBA-R, and then that is number
5.
J5. J5 to say a prohibition against retaliation or harassment, and/or harassment.
And I had and/or, but whatever is easiest for the policy committee.
Okay.
I have a follow-up, which may seem like a silly question. And this is just because this is where my brain goes, because I like to define everything. Retaliation, is that clearly defined legally, and is harassment also something that's clearly defined, or is that something that's left up to the powers that be to decide if it is?
I think we could ask Ms. Duffy what typically happens if there's a sexual harassment complaint or a complaint about someone harassing, since Attorney Clausen is not here. Oh, and I made that as a motion for, I make that as a motion for an amendment, and Dottie, did you want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. So in my experience in human resources, retaliation would include harassment or any sort of retaliatory action against anyone who made any kind of complaint. So that would be from school board members, administration, or respondent in a complaint or allegation, as we would consider under Title IX or any other harassment policy.
Okay. So that doesn't gum up the works? Okay.
No, I think outlining harassment specifically is not necessarily a bad thing, but I would say if the word wasn't included, it would be included under the umbrella of retaliation.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so all those in favor of adopting the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And now this goes back to the motion to approve policy BBAR as amended, right?
Yep. Ms.
Okay.
Brown is waving her hand.
Ms. Brown?
Hi, I just had a question. So I agree with all these rules about retaliation, that kind of thing. Do we have anything on the books or another policy that's not just for sexual harassment? Like if someone makes a complaint of another kind, do we have a policy against retaliation?
We do. It's in the personnel section, which is G.
Okay. And I'll ask the same question as I said before. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. Do you have any response? Go ahead.
I'm not familiar with all of the policies and section numbers, if I'm being completely honest. But I will say majority of complaints that I find are going to fall under sexual harassment, which would fall under policy ACAC Title IX, harassment and grievance procedures, and that outlines very specifically what is defined under that policy, retaliation being one of them, and what constitutes harassment as well is defined pretty starkly in that policy. So that would be most of the time what I would reference.
Okay, thank you. And my same question as before, this policy didn't have any other significant changes beyond what was there before. Okay, thank you.
No, and you'll see in the, if there was a change, it'll be highlighted in red so that people can see it very clearly. So.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, motion to approve policy BBA-R, say, as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. So I'm going to move that we approve policy BEAA as presented. Oh, as amended here. You'll see that there's a red line. Is there a second?
Does anybody want to second that?
Second.
Okay. Second by Ms. Brown.
Sorry, I always looked like within the committee to second for some reason instead of like, so that's,
So this particular policy, during our, I'm sorry?
right.
Sorry, no, I was confused.
We were doing crosstalk. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. This policy is from 2007. There wasn't anything significant suggested by the School Board Association, and there weren't any significant laws that have changed since 2007 on this one. However, in discussion at policy committee meeting, Ms. Johnson pointed out that we have had emergency meetings since 2007. We've had a couple of them. And so she suggested the red line that you see here in this policy regarding in the event of an emergency meeting that information be shared with the board as efficiently as possible. And in the meeting, we talked about how like sometimes we've had a meeting like for COVID where we got there and we were handed information and we had to read it. And then it was posted to the website at that time. So.
I would, again, sorry, I feel like a stick in the mud. With efficiently, are people going to be quibbling about what is efficient and what isn't? I mean, I know we clearly have rules about how the timing of meeting minutes being posted, but also agendas being, with it being an emergency meeting and efficient, I just worry that there will be people who don't feel that it happens fast enough. And it's just such a vague.
Right. I mean, we talked about it in committee quite a bit.
I know.
So I think we have to give people grace in an emergency to do the best they can to get us the stuff that we need to make the decisions. And certainly no one is going to be expecting board members to make decisions without any information.
No, I meant posted publicly, efficiently. Ms. Johnson?
Yeah, when I was on the board the first time, when the roof collapsed at Pennachuck, you know, how efficiently and effectively is, you got to get the board members the information, and then it can go out to the public. But we as board members, that's why I put in there by electronically and by phone for us.
Yep.
Because we're have to be the first really responders, because we have to make those decisions. And then, back then we had a newspaper. Now we don't have a newspaper, you know, the paper thing, you know, now you're lucky if you get it on Saturdays only. But, you know, I think this is, with the amendment on it, I think it's good.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to make sure that we were all on board with the verbiage. Okay, So
Actually, I have a question, so I just now, I hadn't thought about really that before, more a comment, and I was just doing a little research quickly. Is there I think there is an RSA at the state level for what constitutes emergency meeting status. Is there something on the books for that? I mean, so that would be a clarifying thing, that if what the kind of decisions would fall under that.
I'm not aware of an RSA regarding an emergency meeting for school boards, because each municipality has their own kind of rules about what constitutes an emergency for an emergency meeting. Having said that, if we find one, I certainly will be happy to bring this back to policy, but I'm not aware of any RSAs regarding emergency board meetings for school board members.
Okay.
Okay. I apologize. You made that motion, Ms. Raymond, and who seconded it?
Ms. Brown.
Ms. Brown. Okay. Ms. Brown.
I found one.
Okay.
Let's see, what is this? 91A:2, meetings open to the public. Hold on here, it's pretty tiny print.
So it's just part of the right to know law, correct?
So, except in an emergency, a quorum of the body shall be physically present. For the purposes of subparagraph, an emergency means that an immediate action is imperative and the physical presence of a quorum is not reasonable practical. This is actually under the reasonable quorum. So I guess that's something requiring immediate action. Determination that the emergency exists shall be made by the chairman and presiding officer or otherwise. Sorry, it's next line.
Yeah.
Must be simultaneously hear each other speak during the meeting and shall be audible. I'm sorry, I'm skipping around. It's really small print. I apologize. So basically, it needs to be something that needs immediate action. So I think as long as, it falls into that category and people are respectful of that, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this is a policy that's been taken advantage of by either the board or administration in recent history. So,
would it be worth putting that in the referenced things just written at the bottom of that policy?
No, because that's the right to know law, and that's just the public meeting law in general for the entire state.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving policy BEAA? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. The next policy is I move to approve policy IF, instructional approach, as it was amended at the policy committee. Having saying that, I don't see red on this. Let me find out why.
It doesn't say as amended in the agenda.
Oh, as presented, I just misread it, sorry. Recommendation so I move to approve policy IF, instructional approach. Whew.
Ms. Darling seconds. If there are any comments or questions, go now.
So I have a question regarding actually something that someone spoke about early this evening about the middle school students being unleveled. So if our instruction, and just I want to ask the administration is how this policy is currently being applied in the district. One of the policies says instruction will be focused meeting instructional needs of students with different talents, interests, and developmental levels. So I guess that my question is, how is this currently being applied in the district?
I'm going to jump in because Mr. Posca and I have had a lot of conversations about this, and it's come up multiple times in policy committee over the last 5 years and kind of gone nowhere. So we have a policy called the Middle Level Education Policy. It's policy 2230. It's quite a bit out of date. It's from 2002. And we tried to update it, 5 years ago. And there was quite a lot of discussion with teachers and the union coming to the policy committee meeting, and it kind of ended up like DOA. And so we put it off to the side. But this is one that poor Mr. Pasca, I bring up every month at our monthly agenda planning meetings. And he tells me,
we currently have a middle school steering committee that's formed and meeting. One of the tasks of the middle school steering committee is to make a recommendation about the middle school leveling policy here for the Nashua School District. It is our intention to have a recommendation for the hopefully May, possibly June, ideally May board meeting to bring forward and have a discussion based upon the research and the work that we're doing as a committee.
I'm super excited about hearing what they have to say.
I am too. There's a lot of good information coming from that. Ms. Brown?
So, how is this policy currently being utilized in the district?
Policy 2230.
Policy IF or policy 2230?
Throw them at me.
Well, I think policy 2230 is what's in place, and I think that's some of the conversations are being had about what's best middle school practice. And so right now leveling is part of that. So this discussion, is that part of best middle school practice going forward? I think policy IF, instructional approaches, kind of gives an overview of what should be going on in all classrooms throughout the district. So kind of more of a 20,000-foot view of what's going on, and then you dig deeper as you go down.
But this doesn't replace 2230.
It does not.
No, so that still exists, and we're just making it a broader definition with IF.
So I'm going to be honest, I don't actually have a lot of familiarity before this week, just watching the policy meeting on this or 2230. So I will follow up. Do we also have policies regarding elementary leveling or anything like that, or are those two different subjects?
Yes. So we have a policy for high school, and we have a policy for elementary. Hold on one second. The elementary one, I'm going to have to go through all.
I bet Ms. Sarfty can speak to this right off the top of her head.
Well, Ms. Sarfty.
Dr. Sarfty.
No, Ms. Sarfty does not have an internet connection, but I can speak to IF. Is that the one that I can speak to? Is that okay? So in terms of our instructional practices, everything that we're doing at the elementary level is meant to figure out where students are. So we can the first point of this is diagnosing learner needs. We have benchmark assessments where when we dig into that data, again, we're looking to be able to meet kids where they're at so that we can push them towards grade level proficiency. I mean, what we saw tonight was an example of that. Every one of the students who sat around this horseshoe, they all have diverse learning needs. And our teachers are masterful, I think, especially at the elementary level, because we're teaching them those foundational skills in all the content areas. So they're very masterful of making sure that they can differentiate for all of their students. I mean, everything in here about this says resource-based learning opportunities, but we're looking for research-based materials to provide resource-based learning opportunities. I would say that this policy IF is certainly threaded into everything that we do every single day, but the specific elementary policy that you're talking about, I can't seem to access at this moment.
I found it. It's ILAA, and it was updated in 2019. So ILAA is elementary level grouping philosophy, and so that policy, so the way it works is this policy IF is like the global for the district, and then we have 2320, which is middle school, we have ILAA, which is elementary school, and we have ILBAA, which is high school. And then high school, we have some additional ones because laws are constantly changing about what criteria there are for diplomas and what criteria there are for, like one of the ones we pulled off because we need more work on is about citizenship requirements that have just been added. So there's quite a few policies that flow in, but the one we're talking about tonight is IF, and that is simply the kind of umbrella policy, which hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Ms. Brown?
Just piggybacking off what you said, is there a huge difference, like the terminology in the academic community between resource-based and research-based? I mean, is it worth sending this back to committee and talking about changing that?
I would like to see research-based.
Yeah, so whether it goes back to committee or we change the word right now with an amendment, but it should be research-based. We shouldn't be driving our instruction around a book or something like that. So I think it should be research-based.
Okay. That, I'm sorry, what line?
That is number 3.
Number 3. So number 3 shouldn't say resource, it should say research.
Yep.
If that's a typo.
I'll move to make that, I'll move to make that amendment.
Can we,
It's a typo.
yeah, I don't know. Let's call it a friendly amendment.
Okay. Ms. Brown, you're making that amendment?
Yes.
Number 3 should be, that way we don't have to vote twice, should be research. Thank you for catching that, not resource. Okay.
So Ms. Brown made that motion. Are you seconding
I
it?
think we can just make it as part of the original motion. That's why I was saying friendly amendment.
Okay. Okay.
That will,
I mean, it's okay with me, but is everybody else okay with that? Because I think it did say resource-based in the previous policy.
well then we can vote twice, I don't care. So Ms. Brown, and I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, so all those in favor of the amendment to change resource to research in policy IF number 3, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we go back to the original motion. Do we have any further comment or questions on the policy IF as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for that conversation, guys.
Yep. So in your packets was IHAK, but it should not have been. I think Ms. Kinsella sent out
Yeah, she updated
a
it.
correction earlier this evening.
I caught that, yeah.
Yeah, so that was,
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Johnson.
so I don't have it on my list because I'm waiting for some legal advice on that one. So my next motion is to approve policy IHBBA, limited English proficiency instruction as presented.
Second. Thank you, Ms. Darling. Any comments or questions on this? Were there any?
There's a lot in this. There've been a lot of changes to the New Hampshire requirements regarding the access test, which is the English language learner proficiency exam. And there's changes not only to the test name and the fact that you have to take it, but there's also requirements on what score you need to get, and then how long after you have achieved proficiency at that score, students will be monitored, so from 2 to 4 years. In addition, there are some changes to certification requirements, and now there is a science assessment that's been added that wasn't there before. So there aren't new like RSA numbers, but these are all changes that have happened in the state since this was last updated in 2008.
Okay.
And we had quite a bit of conversation in policy committee with Mr. Posca about the PD and the PLCs that the district is offering our teachers to help them with their ELL certifications or just ELL skills in general.
I have a feeling this probably bolsters up what we want to do with the DOJ stuff anyway.
Yes.
So,
No?
no?
No, that is correct. I
Okay.
think this is, as we talked about in policy, this is, NHSBA does not require this, but it is recommended based upon, some of the,
Our special circumstances?
well, in our case, yes, our special services, but it does kind of outline what we want in place for our limited English proficiency students.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving policy IHBBA, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, I move to approve policy IKC, full-time student, as amended. What do I have? Is this in the wrong order? as amended. And you'll see that it is not in the packet for tonight, but Ms. Kinsella sent it out separately.
Yep. Any comments or questions on this? Do you want to give just a quick, we're changing some credit requirements for diplomas? Right.
No, that's the high school graduation one. So the one I'm talking about is IKC, which is not in our packet
No,
because,
I know, it's hoping.
and I don't have it open right here. Hold on. This one is regarding who's considered a full-time student. And hold on, there it is. And we just updated it. Did we update it? Yeah, we took out quite a bit that was no longer applicable due to class rank. And then we made sure to say student and parent and guardians will be notified if there's a change in the student's full-time status.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to get that into the record. Any comments or questions on this? Seeing no.
I'm just looking at Ms. Raymond's face.
No, because I feel like we had put more in there.
We did, at the bottom here.
Yeah.
I suggested, because we're getting rid of the class rank, that you said the beginning with the class of 2025's, class rank will no longer be calculated. We added that.
We did,
with
and
that
so
last- with the
that's why
homeschooling.
I'm giving myself a weird look because I don't have it open right here. So yes, so we added also the very specifics about when class rank changes will take into effect.
But that's not on what you're referencing?
That's on the one that Ms. Kinsella sent out
today?
separately. Yep.
Okay.
IKC.
IKC.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure that it was.
I have, but it's in a different email.
Okay.
This one.
Okay.
Where's that thing at 25?
Do you need to see it? So here on the that we added a line that says, beginning in class 2025, rank will no longer be calculated.
Okay.
Good?
So that is written in the presented policy. It's just not, there are a couple iteration of emails. I want to make sure that I know that we're voting on the
And
most up-to-date one.
Ms. Kinsella said she put this one on
She
the
did.
website.
Okay. Perfect. Comments, questions?
I just had a quick question, actually. Wait, am I allowed to?
Yes, you're allowed
okay.
to. You
Just
can
wanna make sure.
contribute all the
Yeah.
time.
No, so for the class rank calculations, so does that mean they're being stopped with the class of 2025 and beyond? They're not having class rank, but then class of 2024 will? Is that how?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that was the result of the numerous discussions that went back and forth over the fall. I'm just going to generalize and say the fall here, when we got more input from the community, was to delay it so that everybody knew and we had a specific starting date.
Okay. Is that class rank and the GPA, or is that separate?
So this policy doesn't cover GPA. There's another policy that does GPA.
Coming up.
And that's the next policy.
Yep.
Well, maybe they don't like them to be too long, but this one's just about full-time students, and you have to be a full-time student to be considered for class rank. And if you're homeschooled or a foreign exchange student or a part-time student, you are not considered for class rank either.
And that's now?
That's now. That's been like that since 2016.
Right.
So.
Okay. Does that clarify? Okay. Okay.
And then in 2025, we can go in and take out everything about class rank on this policy and just talk about full-time students.
Like a get ready sentence. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approving policy
IKC.
IKC?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. I'm trying to calculate in my head whether I will be here in 2025, and I don't. It's too much. Okay.
Ms. Raymond, if I could interrupt, could we revisit policy IHBBA, please?
Yes. Did we have a problem with that one?
I think we do have an issue that I think has to be addressed. What is talked about in this policy is structured English immersion, although the wording per our DOJ settlement, is sheltered English immersion.
Should we just take this policy and make a new motion to send it back to policy? Or do you want to do a quick change?
I think it's as simple as making the quick change to sheltered English immersion as opposed to structured English immersion, but I think that would better capture the nature of the policy and what it is we're supposed to be doing going forward.
Okay, and the new word is structured.
Sheltered.
No, sheltered.
We're replacing structured with sheltered.
Okay. Change structured. All right, so I move that we change the word structured to the word sheltered, English.
Learners?
Something immersion, language immersion, yeah? Yep, okay.
So moved.
Excuse me, sheltered English immersion.
Okay, so I move that we change the word structured to sheltered English immersion on policy IHBBA. Does that cover it? Okay.
And Mr. Claffey
Again.
seconds. Okay,
Okay.
So moved.
thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so all those in favor of the language change in policy IHBBA, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, thanks, guys. My goodness.
Thank you, Ms. Raymond. I want to thank Dr. Safdie for picking that up, too. Thank you.
Yeah. We're meeting on Wednesday, Dr. Sarfty. Okay. I move that we approve policy IKF, high school graduation, as presented.
Second.
Okay. This policy, you'll see, has a lot of red in it. To Mr. Castellano's point, this is the one where we talk about changing from GPA and class rank to the cum laude system. If you take a look at this policy, I'm going to go to the end of the first page. That's where we list for classes 2024, 25, and 26 what the cum laude system will look like. And then academic awards, which I see that we didn't get that A in there. So awards on academic awards for the class of 2027 is still missing the second A. That portion will go back to a 4.0 scale, which is what was decided in all of the class rank stuff. So it's confusing, but it's right there in red and white. This policy also adds, just for everyone's knowledge, it updates the mathematics requirements. There are very specific courses that are now required in order to graduate for mathematics. There's a new science experience credit that's required for graduation. And there's a new law that we're still working on the policy for the law, but it is a graduation requirement, so we put it in here, that students must pass the U.S. citizenship and naturalization exam. That's RSA 189.11, and that was passed in 2021? Yeah, 2021. So that means we have to have 14 and a half credits for students now. Beginning in the class of 2027, you'll need 15 and a half credits of common courses, like your core academic classes, and then you need additional credits adding up to 27 credits, including your electives and CTE classes in order to graduate in Nashua, which is different than other places. I know there's a big discussion going on right now in some education groups across the state because various high schools across the state require everything from 24 to 28 credits. And some require community service and all sorts of stuff. It's fascinating.
Mr. Mosca?
And the FAFSA requirement?
Oh, yes, and we added, there's a new law that says for everybody after the class of 2023, you now have to file a FAFSA, a federal application for federal student aid with the U.S. Department of Education, or file a waiver with the New Hampshire Board of Education. indicating that you know what FAFSA is and you've chosen not to do it. And so we have updated it to reflect that legal change as well. And just for everyone's knowledge, the district does offer File a FAFSA nights here at North and at South for students and parents and guardians and whomever to come and learn how to do it. So
What is the point in that?
I don't know, but it's the law.
Besides getting everybody's financial information.
Or waiver. I don't know.
They already have all the
No, I mean, some people don't even need to file a FAFSA because they know they're going to overqualify.
Right. Or, for example,
Data gathering.
if you're going into a trade and you're not going to secondary school, like if you're not going to college, you don't need to apply for federal financial aid. But somebody made it a law, and we include the laws in our policies. So.
I agree with Ms. Johnson on this.
Pardon me mumbling?
Yes.
Okay.
But there is a waiver form that you can get from the New Hampshire Department of Education.
Okay. Who in the school is responsible for making sure that the parents follow up on that? Because is guidance going to send out?
There'll have to be some documentation that guidance has to follow up on.
Okay.
To Ms. Raymond's point, I think our guidance departments do a tremendous job.
They do.
You know, with the FAFSA nights and
Yep.
making people aware of that. I think that was the big piece of it. It is going to be another step to document that, you know, Mr. Smith opted out and is not going to file a waiver or whatever that may be. So that will be the challenge.
Wow.
I saw Ms. Brown, and I think Mr. Castellano had a question too.
And mine was just from the information. Was the algebra requirement before, was it up to, I thought it was up to algebra 2. Was that not? I thought they had to take algebra 2
I think it's just
to graduate. I guess I'm
Off the top of my head, no. I think there was algebra parts 1 and 2.
Okay, so there's, or algebra honors. Okay, all right. That's right. I mean, that's great. I actually support this, and just for the record, this reflects also what we were talking about in curriculum recently of adding more thorough science curriculum, so that's good.
Yeah, we held this policy until after your curriculum work was done to make sure that we incorporated that. So,
wow. Mr. Castellano?
Yeah, sorry, I just had one other question, because I know there's been kind of some confusion at the high school, or at least at South, about like the class rank and all that stuff. I know a lot of people care a lot about it, as you guys have seen.
Sorry, what are you talking about?
The class. Yeah. What was my question? Oh, yeah. So the weighted GPA, will that be? So that's implemented. Like the new system will be implemented for class of 2025 and beyond, or that's same as class rank?
It's like a slow rollout, so everybody can kind of get their feet wet and.
So I see that you don't have this packet in front of you, so I'm turning my laptop so you can see. Actually, I can just pick it up. So here it says on the bottom of page 1, academic awards for the classes of 2024, 2025, and 2026. It's the same GPA system that we have had, but it says that what minimum GPA you need to get to graduate with laude, magna cum laude, or summa cum laude, which is, but you'll see it reflects the 3.75 to 5.0 GPA for the summa cum laude. And then starting in 2027, when we go back to a 4.0 GPA system, then it breaks down the exact GPA you need in order to earn laude, cum laude, or summa cum laude.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm part of the Lottie-Dottie party.
And it's good because I think a lot of us need to have the refresher on Latin. It's been a long time.
Okay. Well, I would, that really, here, let's move this over here. That really kind of bugs me with the FAFSA stuff, because if we're going to mandate the filing of anything, it should be the free and reduced lunch, because then at least the school district benefits from that.
Yeah, I didn't get an
Because it's a
opportunity to vote
law,
on
and
that.
we can't change a law. I know that's ridiculous for me to fight against it, but if this hadn't already been passed at a state level, I would not be in favor of this policy. But anyway, until the law changes, we can come back and look at it again. But any other comments or questions in regards to IFK?
No, I'm just reminding Ms. Kinsella when she listens to this that under awards for 2027, the class of 2027, it's missing the second A in the word awards. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all those in favor of approving policy IKC? IKF, sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And for the record, Ms. Gilio stepped out for a second, so her vote, this will be an 8-0 vote.
7.
7. It's late.
I'm sorry. We did a lot at policy. We were very, very efficient. Okay, I move that we approve policy IKF-R. This is a form for a core diploma. The core diploma is if you are not going to make the 27 credits, you can apply for a core diploma, which is, I think, 20 credits, and then it has some other criteria that go along with it, including your transcript, your plan of action, your plans for post-graduation, some letters of support, and this form hasn't had any significant changes. So. Oh, I didn't wait for a second. I just kept going.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Darling.
Yeah. This doesn't change kids being able to leave school earlier than 18 without extenuating circumstances, right?
No, RSA 189, I forget what number, requires students to stay in school until they are 18 or graduate, whichever comes first.
Yep. Okay. Any further questions or comments? Seeing, Ms. Gilio, do you want to be do you want me to include you in this vote, or do you want to continue to be?
I can,
You can be out? Yeah. Okay. So all those in favor of approving policy IKF-R, right?
Yep.
Say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Ms. Gilio did not vote on that one because she was not here for the discussion. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the next, let's see, I move that we approve policy JFABD-R, which,
do you want to start off with one without the R?
yeah, it's actually written wrong here on my sheet. So the real one that I want to do is JFABD no R. So I move that we approve JFABD no R. And the title of that is not what's written down on this form. The title is Education of Homeless Children and Unaccompanied Youth.
Second.
Thank you.
And this form is for our students who fall under the McKinney-Vento laws regarding students who are currently without stable housing. So, and just a summary of it is that we're required by law to work with those students and their families to make sure they get to school. Because this is frequently the constant in their lives, and we want to make sure that they have a safe space to be.
Ms. Darling seconded it. I am not going to ask for an amendment on this because I should have shown up to policy for it, but just in the future, I know we're shifting our language from homeless to houseless. It doesn't mean you're without a caring, structured environment. It just means you're without a structured living environment. And I feel like we're going to start leaning in that direction of saying houseless instead of homeless. So I should have come to policy to have stated my opinion, but I did not, so we will continue on.
Ms. Darling, I think, brought up something almost verbatim.
Yeah, I had actually said the same thing. There was question over the legal terminology between
Yeah, it's
homeless
just-
and houseless, and where are we at with that?
It's just the jargon right now. And I even think houseless is what we're using for children and for adults, for calling it housing instability, because you can still be, you know, living at a grandparent's house or living at a friend's house or living in a motel. That doesn't mean you are, I mean, there's just connotations that come with that word, and I would love to move away from it. But anyway.
Yep, no, at this point, we left it because of the McKinney-Vento Homeless Act. So.
Well, we can be better than that, but. Okay, so all those in favor? Christina and I will go and change the world tomorrow. All those in favor of approving policy JFABD, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. And I'm sorry I didn't ask for a quick update of what that was, but.
That's okay.
Trying to speed us along.
No, that's all right. This one is, I move to approve policy JFABD-R, which is the form that people can fill out if they're having a dispute over where the child should go to school. So if they disagree with the school about where to go, this is the form. The biggest change on this is we updated some language in the title, and they'll had a person's name on it for the homeless liaison, who's no longer a homeless liaison. So we made sure that that information is correct, so people know where to go.
Thank you. Does this mean we have to update, is the name, I'm just assuming you know right off the top of your head.
We got rid of the
Did we say
name.
housing liaison, or did we actually put a name in there?
We got rid of the name and we put the liaison.
That just makes it easier. We don't have to come back every time we have a status change. Okay, so any comments or questions? Seeing none. All those in favor of approving policy JFAB-R, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And for the record, Mr. Claffey has stepped out, so it's again a 7-0.
Wait, who seconded that?
Ms. Darling?
Oh, thank you, Ms. Darling. I didn't write it down. Okay.
Was it you, Ms. Brown?
I don't think so. Sure.
What?
Okay, no, I heard you go, me.
Oh,
I don't know.
But that may not have even been what you said.
this is my last one. Okay.
I'm just hearing things now.
This is my last one. I move to approve policy KA, school, community, and home relations as amended.
Presented.
Second.
Oh, as presented.
Okay, any follow-up or questions on this one? Okay,
good.
Seeing none, again, Mr. Claffey is still absent, so it's a seven-person vote. All those in favor of approving policy KA, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. How you guys did all of those policies in 1 hour is beyond me.
It wasn't an hour. It was like an hour and a half or a little bit more. So,
Still,
And giving me asking questions and making changes.
well, that's what committee's for.
Yeah,
That's
but
where the work happens.
But Ms. Raymond did an excellent job. so-
Yeah.
And she allows you
thank you, Ms.
to make
Have those
some
discussions.
have those changes and ask the I miss policy. I really do.
Well, I'm glad you're still going.
Yeah. And whenever I can, I will be there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
that's enough. I'm done now. Thank
Ms.
you.
Brown, Committee on Curriculum and Evaluation.
Okay, thank you. We met on January 17th, and we do have some motions that came out of that meeting. The first is I move to approve the contract with cybersecurity in the amount of $115,000, funding to come from Perkins grant funding.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Darling.
A little overview on that. That's actually adding actually, if Dr. Andre, go ahead. I would actually, so I want to give thanks to the administration, because we did have a lot of questions on this particular discussion, and they were so good about getting back to us with follow-up information. Dr. Andre, take it away.
So thank you, Ms. Brown. So we're excited to present this opportunity. The name of the company is Paradigm Cyber Ventures. They came out to meet with the high school, the administration, the guidance counselors, and several CTE teachers to talk about the possibilities. We also invited the Greater Nashua Chamber of Commerce on potential partners as well. So they spent a day with us to go over the avenue. So this cybersecurity program is a 3-year program where students could leave minimally with the Security Plus certification, which will allow students to leave high school and with that certification and have the opportunity to get a job starting at $50,000 to $60,000 straight out of high school. We are also partnering, we're meeting with Southern New Hampshire University, where students also, these credits align with their associate's degree. So going through the program, students, again, may be able to actually leave the high school with an associate's degree. So this company has been working with higher education partners around the country in this venture. Some of their current partners are around the country. There's districts in New Jersey, New York, 2 in New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Alabama, South Dakota, Illinois, and 2 in California. They're also working with IBM, US Bank, Kroger Technology, Standex Electronics, GE Aerospace, Cyber.org, and Digital Promise and the Center for Inclusive Innovation. We will be the first cyber hub in New England. In speaking with the Greater Nashua Chamber of Commerce, we put out a couple of feelers to see who would be interested. BAE is interested, Enterprise Bank, Fidelity Investments, so they all see the need of a potential pipeline. So we're really excited to offer this opportunity. And again, we met with the administration, our guidance counselors, and some of our business partners to see is this a worthwhile opportunity, and we got a resounding yes. So the other thing that came back, I know there was questions in subcommittee. We worked with the company, so they will bill us in 3 years. So you have an amended contract that came in your Friday package to show that it would be a 3-year implementation. So we are not putting up the $115,000 up front. It's per year, and they agree to those terms.
Ms. Oden?
Yeah, thank you. I have a question, and thank you for providing some of that. It was interesting getting the resumes, their description of the educational people, but I was also hoping to get some of the technologically educated people who are designing the curriculum and advising the educators.
So if I can get back to you, but Andrew, I forget his last name in here. One of the chief investigators or designers is Andrew, let me look at this profile here. Andrew Wheatley.
Okay.
He's been, even though his background, he's been developing a lot of the curriculum in conjunction with the higher ed partners and background. So he is that kind of chief person coming up with it and doing the research and designing the curriculum.
But his degree is in education. I was looking for people trained in technology, and I haven't seen that.
So I'll be more than happy to reach back out to them and see who their major advisors are. They've been really happy to work with us, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I think on the contract, I saw where they wanted payment on February 28th.
Yeah, yes. So that's the planning for this upcoming going forward.
So our students, the semester, they've already decided on their classes. What are they doing in the 6 months from March, April, May, June, July, August? We're paying for those months. What's happening?
That's the preparation for the launch. So meeting with the community partners, the professional development for the teachers who will be teaching the class. So it's the designing for the implementation. There'll be no students in the spring semester. They'll start in the fall, but it's it's the professional development and working with our community partners to develop the program. That's what we're paying for.
And will it be in Footsteps to the Future, that course would be
Yes.
there?
Yep, absolutely.
I like to have more definite things, but I know this is new. I did look up some of the school systems, and they're not, most of them aren't as large as ours that they're working with. So I hope they're able to provide what we need for all of our students. I know one school had, one special school had 200 students in it, which is encouraging to see them working with a school that, a class, an interest in the course that size.
Yeah, so Lakota Public Schools, there are about 25,000 students, 2 high schools, very similar demographics as us. They're out in Ohio, as well as Mentor is another district that has similar demographics, and it's roughly around 12,000 students.
A lot of the demographics I found were similar to ours, but the size was not, a lot of the sizes were not as large as ours. But thank you, and I would appreciate if you could get back, just so I know technologically where their consultants are coming from, what their experience is. Oh, I got it on the educational people, but I was hoping to get it on the people that are going to be working firsthand with our,
absolutely.
our people. Thank you.
Do you have something to say? Sorry.
No, I am very supportive. I understand Ms. Oden's apprehension to take the risk and initiative to be the first hub in New England, but I think it's a great opportunity for our students to try something new, to expand our CTE program and opportunities. Just for the record, this won't yet provide students with a associate's degree out of high school. That is in the works, and it's something that we're working on, not just with this program, but hopefully others as well. So,
Ms. Oden?
I'm sorry, I have another question. If we pay them in February, are we going to
For a
owe
hamburger
them
today.
another $30,000 in the next February, or do we wait to the end of the year? Because that seems odd for us.
The way the contract reads now, it's 50 this February, 30 the next February, and 20 the following February.
And is there any way in the contract that we could say this isn't working for us? Or once you sign into the contract, is that it? Is there anything that protects us from?
I'd have to verify it again, but typically most contracts have a termination clause of some sort. But I mean, it's one of those things, you're gonna, unless after 6 months you've got nothing, I mean.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'm really excited for this. What needs, I'm assuming that this company is going to be working with Southern New Hampshire University on creating the associate's degree. What influence or what input can we give to that process? Like if Southern New Hampshire University is saying you need to spend like 72 million hours in this program to get your associates, and then you don't have time for the rest of your high school experience, do we get to chime in on what is a realistic amount of work for our students to still get the associates?
So yes, the quick, easy, it's really, again, working with our conversations with Paradigm is to make sure, again, that we're working with the higher education partnerships to make sure it's a reasonable program that is going to be something that can be applied for all students, so it's not dominating one area or another. So again, I think that's some of their consulting. They've been working with the 12 other districts, and they're having similar conversations on what does that really look like. And all of our conversations with them when they visited and subsequent conversations are the higher ed partners, and this company has been very flexible working with the school districts to make it happen. So, so it may come back to the board saying we need X, Y, and Z, but again, I think this could be a model of the implementation. I know there's a lot of money up front, and as Ms. Brown said, this could be a model on how we expand other CTE or real-world applications beyond our school walls on really what does it take to broker a strong school community partnerships along whether it's policy, infrastructure, budgeting, but I think this is an opportunity again where it could be a model on future relationships with our community and business partners.
Yeah. No, I think this is fantastic. This is the future. Okay, any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Sorry, I didn't have the agenda in front of me anymore. It's like, okay, Ms. Brown, sorry.
All right, thank you all. I think I'm feeling very positive that moving forward with this project. Let's see. So I move to approve the purchase of Eureka Didax math manipulatives in the amount of $159,918.90, funding to come from Title I ESSER and general operating budget funds. Dr. Sarfti, would you like to speak to this?
Oh, I'll second it.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Hi, yes. So we want our students to be able to use math manipulatives and demonstrate what they know in multiple ways, not just, with a paper and working on computations. So we're really excited about adding the manipulatives to our to our math curriculum and also to our math day. One thing I just wanted to say really quickly is that we received a reimbursement of Title I funds in the amount of $1.7 million. Yes, and so 6 of our schools benefit from that reimbursement, and so that's why you'll see some of these purchases or some of these recommendations for purchase over the next couple of months. When you see that the funding is being split up, that is why. But yes, we're really excited. We have a number of teachers who have been piloting Eureka Squared, which is it is our core Eureka curriculum, only updated. It's much more teacher-friendly, also has embedded supports for English language learners and students who have unfinished learning, and certainly using the math manipulatives is a big part of the work that teachers have been doing. They're excited about it, and they want to continue to use the manipulatives. Wow.
How do you think I gave you that to talk about? Because I didn't have to say manipulatives that many times.
I didn't say it right any time that I said it.
So I would like, just to add on and to clarify a little bit about, that's what you're seeing here when it says funding comes from Title I, ESSER, and operating budget. That was in the name of equity through our whole district to make sure all the students have access to those items. Title I are specifically targeted schools for low-income students, and I think, are there 5?
5, and also Sunset is the school that benefits from these Title I funds as well.
So, okay, we have 5 identified and 1 on a watch list. ESSER, obviously, we still have a little bit in the ESSER pot left, and also general operating budget, so because we can't use some of the Title I funds at other specified schools. So that's why you'll see these motions coming in from different pockets of money, but it's because we want to make the curriculum available district-wide.
Okay. Ms. Raymond?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think this is brilliant. I think we have students across the district who learn in different ways, and I love the idea, as we've been talking about our ELL students especially, and making sure that our curriculum is accessible to them. The idea of having something manipulative that they can see and move can be very helpful with that as well. So this is great, and I was counting this weekend how I'm like counting all of the invoices, like to make sure that we got all the schools, and so I'm so thrilled that you were able to do that.
Ms. Oden?
I just want to say thank you. Former first grade teacher at a Title I school. So many of those kids really haven't worked with just numerals, and having those manipulatives makes all the difference in the world. All the difference. So thank you so much for providing those for our students. It will be helpful to a lot of students and a lot of teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. No other comments or questions? The statement? No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. The next motion is I move to approve the purchase of Amplify Science Spanish materials in the amount of $165,586.50, funding to come from Title I, ESSER, and operating budget.
Cool. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Oden. Comments, questions?
All right, so actually you just saw the Amplify Science in action this evening. This is to give more students access in their native language.
Cool. Great. Yeah. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, finally, I move to approve the purchase of geodes in the amount of $50,000 to come from Title I funds.
Ms. Oden, thank you for seconding. Okay.
These are decodable readers, just wanted to add, is that okay? These are decodable readers that offer sound patterns after, that students are able to read and decode after they have learned the sound patterns. They're wonderful. Geodes has been recommended to us by our amazing presenters who are coming, the Liebens, a plug for February 20th, and this will only enhance the decodables that we've previously purchased. We wanted to be able to have a wide array.
Thank you. Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. And so when I first read this, I was like, oh, yay, rocks. So I'm glad to understand that this is a phonics-based learning tool, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It helps students with decoding.
That rocks. No rocks. You had to have seen it coming at this point.
Yeah, well, geodes, it's also a rock. You break it open, there's crystals inside, super fun. But not as fun as phonics.
Jimmy loves me.
Editorial comment. Good thing we have Jimmy here because he's keeping us up now. It's a long evening, you know?
It is. I appreciate
us
everybody
right on our toes.
Yeah. Okay, so all those in favor of approving the purchase of the geodes in the amount of $50,000, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Yes, I thank you all for sticking with this. I know this is a long meeting, and we had a meeting before this, but all of these things that come before us on the agenda have been thought through and decided on being on the agenda because they're important. So I appreciate us all kind of maintaining the same energy level for each of the motions so that we can give them their proper time. So we did not do Committee on Human Resources to Yep. Manipulative.
So the motion would be to suspend the rules to consider items in lieu of the HR meeting.
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, so we're okay with skipping the committee and coming straight in. Ms. Gilio, it's your chair. You're fine with that?
I'm absolutely fine with
Okay.
it.
So on the motion to bring the information straight out of committee and into the board, everybody in agreement, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, Ms. Duffy. We don't normally make you stay this long.
Or Miss Duffy.
I didn't
I
have
know.
to torture my kid with medicine before bed tonight, so that was my husband's
You
job.
know, there are sometimes you get, and nobody says he needs
Silver
to know you
linings.
get out at 9:15, so. Go shopping. Okay. Ms. Gilio. You're just going to present the personnel recommendations.
Okay, so we all received a copy of the personnel recommendations.
Yep.
So I'm looking for a motion to approve the personnel recommendations that are included in tonight's packet dated January 30th, 2023.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Who seconded that? I apologize. Ms. Johnson. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this now. Does this include the CTE director, or is that a separate motion? Or assistant director?
That's not part of this.
It's not part. Assistant directors don't go before the board. It's director or higher. And
Right, no, I wanted to know if that was on this list of personnel recommendations or if it's an upcoming meeting. Because,
assistant directors have historically not gone to the board for approval.
really?
Correct. We checked the last assistant director of CTE, and that was also the case.
Oh, we should talk.
Well, that we mentioned that earlier. It may be a slight loophole.
More than happy to
Process.
change it, so we follow the previous last two assistant
But I'm just thinking, because we have all the teachers on the list, it's weird that we would then not approve an assistant
Well, when I
director.
went over everything on Friday, and Ms. Duffy and Ms. Kinsella got a text from me saying, we're missing someone, and like, she was in office today, we had everything going, we'll see you tonight, and then we went through it, and we're like, oh, we don't have to see you tonight. So she was prepared to come and answer the questions, and she was in the office, and when we went through the history, we're like, I guess it doesn't go in front of the board. We were going to make it the amendment to add her to it, but be more than happy to introduce her to come to the meeting. I think you'll be really thrilled. But I think the bigger thing is we have to change the policy to include this position.
Right, I mean, I have no problem with it. I trust your judgment on this. Obviously, you've vetted people carefully. It's just strange to me that we would approve, I mean, everything, teachers, coaches, but not an assistant director position, and we don't want to have any problems with, like, processing her paperwork or paying her. So.
I agree.
So we'll look into it. If it does need to come back here, we have a meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so just the way it's currently written, it's not, we don't need, so she could actually start work tomorrow, but if we want to change.
Let's do that.
Yeah, so she's prepared to work tomorrow. So currently, by policy, she doesn't need the approval, she can actually start tomorrow. We actually interviewed her a couple weeks ago, and again, it was our understanding, at least my understanding, we had to wait to the board meeting. And then it was like, I don't see her name on this. I'm like, why isn't her name on this? And we got to that, so she's prepared to start tomorrow morning.
Okay. Okay, so Ms. Gilio made the motion to approve the personnel recommendations, and Ms. Johnson seconded it without any further comments or questions. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Ms. Duffy, I'm so sorry.
Ms. Bishop?
Thank you for staying.
Thank you.
We won't tell anyone you left at this time.
Ms. Bishop?
Ms. Johnson?
Does our student members have to stay if they don't want to?
They never do.
Because, okay.
I never have to stay.
I'm just looking at the time, you know.
It's getting...
It's getting late.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, so do you guys want just a natural break right now? Okay, because it looks like we probably have about 20 more minutes of work. Is that okay? Okay. Okay, so going into new business, I don't have...
Liaison reports.
I was going to skip it. Does anyone want to do liaison reports? Right.
Mrs. Lampier gives the JSSBC report, and she took copious notes.
I did not take notes, so.
I did not take notes either, because she's done such a good job with it, so we can probably go over it at our next meeting.
Yeah, we'll go over it at our next meeting. I know I was busy clerking.
Was there an ed council meeting too?
Yeah, Mr. Claffey went.
Oh.
Did it happen? Yes,
Dr.
it
Andre,
happened.
nothing's coming to mind. How about you?
It was a lot of conversations. I think there was more about conversations, what's going on with the middle school steering, leveling, some conversations around how do we get technology and that, but there was nothing overly significant or surprising.
Okay, perfect. Great. I love that liaison report. New business. Dr. Andre, the floor is yours.
So there's a MOU that was in your package regarding transfer language. Overall, and Mr. Marcoux spoke to this earlier and sent you a communication, really the gist of this MOU is that to change the language around when we in HR and as a district can post for a permanent position. So the current language and practices, we don't really start posting for positions until April. And so we know already we have 6 or 8 retirements by contract. We can't post that position or even the anticipated. This new language will allow us, as soon as someone vacates a position, to start recruiting new teachers to come in. And or if there's teachers within the district who want to take that other vacant position, they can apply for it, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed. But it gives us a lot more options from administration point of view to start recruiting earlier on before we start losing some candidates to other districts. So we're in favor of this MOU so that we can start recruiting and retaining some of our best teachers.
Comments or questions? Yeah. What? Yeah. I feel like we talked about this before, right? Yeah. Okay. Ms. Raymond?
I have a question. So this is adding to Article 9.3 or replacing Article 9.3? Or 9.6, sorry. Because 9.6 is voluntary transfers. Or is it just a total addendum? Oh, it is 9.3. So it's replacing 9.3 and replacing 9.6 completely?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I have another question. How does this affect the situation that we have currently and we discussed earlier this evening where we are missing specific teachers, both at South we know of and we know at Elm Street?
So we'll use the Elm Street has been advertised all along. So that's always been, and that was always looking for a permanent position. So in the South case, with that teacher resigning in October, by the contract we're supposed to fill it with either a long-term or a temporary position until the end of the school year, as opposed to someone recruiting a permanent teacher. So the South is more applicable because that was a new vacancy after the start of the school year. This contract would say that if there was another health teacher or somebody else, that this would be a permanent position that would not be back up to like offerings at the end of the school year where we would have to lay off this teacher because it was a part-time temporary position. So whoever we recruited in and hired would have a permanent position as opposed to a temporary.
Okay, thank you.
Comments or questions? Okay. Who made the motion? Nobody made the motion.
There was no motion.
So I move to approve the National Teachers Contract MOU transfer language as presented. I just need a second.
Second.
I'm sorry, who said it first? Ms. Johnson?
She can have it.
I think it was Ms. Johnson.
She's perking up here a little bit. It's got to be that coconut water.
Okay, any other comments or questions about this? Okay, so all those in favor of approving the teacher's contract MOU say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Okay. Right back to you.
Yep,
Dr.
and the last piece of new business is the unaffiliated annual raise. So you received in your packet a spreadsheet with those figures. So the recommendation is for all the unaffiliated employees to receive a 3.5% increase.
Ms. Johnson?
How do we come at 3.5? Is this because of all the contracts that were negotiated?
Yes. So.
There it is. Is this prudent to do before the para contract is done?
If I could speak to this.
Please.
The non-affiliated people have been waiting all year.
Yes.
For Adam and his friends to make movement.
Yes.
They've chosen not to make any movement.
Okay.
So how much longer do the non-affiliated people have to wait until
Okay.
Adam feels like making movement? And this amount is less than everything he's asking for.
Okay.
So, at some point, a lot of companies say, we're going to take care of the non-affiliated first and let the affiliated people argue all day long.
Okay.
We took a different tact, and I was sort of the main cog behind that.
Okay.
And at this point, why wait?
Okay.
What value is there to waiting? It's been a frustrating 6 months with our friend.
Yeah. Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. I'm going to make the motion because we started talking about it without making the motion. So did anyone want to second it?
I'll second it.
Ms. Bishop? Okay. And then my question is, I was looking at your chart, and I know crossing guards and lunch monitors are included in the non-affiliated, and it looks like the lunch monitors have a slightly bigger bump than everybody else? Or am I misreading the chart?
No, that is correct. All I did was, for them, was move them to 13 and even 13, so that's why it equaled 4.59.
No, I support that. We need lunch monitors, and they're difficult to recruit, so.
Yes, they are.
Oh my gosh, the other day I had to drop Oliver off at Elm Street in the morning. I think it was like ski or something, and there was just a woman standing in the rain.
Yep, so, and the crossing guards, the same thing. They're difficult to recruit, and I think
Difficult to recruit, and I'm
it's
surprised
not a
they
lot of hours, and it's a worthwhile bump, so.
Yep. And so many people call in for less issues than torrential downpours, and they were there. So, okay. So any other comments or questions on the unaffiliated annual raise? Okay, all those in favor of approving the unaffiliated annual raise, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have nobody signed up for second public comment, so I'll just keep talking. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Board member comments. Go around the horseshoe this way this time, because I started off with you. Ms. Gilio, board member comments.
I have no comment.
Excellent. Ms. Johnson.
Everyone have a good night.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Oden.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to go to the Fairgrounds Middle School play, The Ransom of Miss Alverna Dower. Kids did a wonderful job. It was at least an hour, and there was no intermission. There was just change of scenery. So congratulations to them and to the staff that worked with them. They did a great job. Also, I went to Battle of the Bridge yesterday, saw Mr. Claffey there. I'll tell you, it was just a spectacular game. Not only were both teams well coached, but the play was absolutely tremendous. The sportsmanship, the kids in the stand were just so respectful of everything. There was no taunting. It was just, boy, it made you proud to be affiliated with the Nashua School District in any way. It was just great. I wish both teams could have been real happy with it. One was happier than the other, but I did change sides at intermission. I don't know if you did, but I went from purple over to blue, so, and it was hard to find a seat on the blue side, so, yeah. So congratulations to the basketball players, the coaches, and all of the students who went. It just made me feel good to see the district showing such a wonderful side to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brown.
Thank you. Also, I want to give a shout out to the middle school sports that played their city basketball tournament last weekend. Congratulations to the Elm Street boys, coached by Mr. Pearson, who won, and then the Elm Street girls, who my daughter plays for, came in second. But they did great. It was awesome. It was an awesome game. So also, I should have probably said this after your comments, but it wasn't in the agenda. I wanted to say how much I appreciate, Warren, you bringing the opportunity for your fellow students to talk to you, and communication and open dialogue is something I'm really passionate about, and I really appreciate your mission to do that at Nashua North, so thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I actually have a question for Dante in regards to your wrapper drive. Does that include juice bags like Capri Suns and that kind of thing?
I don't believe so, at least for the program we're doing. I believe they're like the typical granola bar wrapper, like that type of thing with like the shiny.
Kind of like a shiny cellophane.
Yeah, something like that. We're still looking into the details of exactly what we can put in there, because I know we learned that if there is anything that's put in there that isn't supposed to be put in there, they might just throw the whole box away, and obviously that would be a waste of money because we fundraise for that. So definitely need to make sure we know what can go in there and what can't.
Well, thanks for putting it together, and I look forward to a report, because if it's something we can take district-wide eventually, that would be fantastic. And other than that, thank you. Good evening.
Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. I don't have any community announcements tonight, which is crazy. But I did want to thank Dr. Andre, Dr. Sarpti, and Mr. Pasca and Ms. Bishop for involving kids in our meeting tonight. I know it took a little bit of time, but it is so nice to be reminded of why we're all here. And it's really for those kids, and seeing the kids and the teachers and the parents and how proud they were. And I also wanted to thank you guys for getting the art, keeping that going, and making sure we have new art every month. This month we have Brentwood, and I don't think we've ever had Brentwood in this room, and it's phenomenal. And they've picked a historic person from Nashua, which is even cooler, and Fairgrounds Elementary. So thanks for that, and please keep it coming.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Claffey?
Unfortunately, yes, but I think we all want to get out of here, but Dr. Sarpti deserves a 10-second plug, because what we saw at the beginning of this meeting, I don't think would have happened without your aggressive pursuit of those ESSER funds. So thank you for doing so much. And I'm not 30 seconds.
Neil, it's the teachers, but thank you. I appreciate
I
it.
understand that, but it began with you here begging us for money. So.
Ms. Darling?
I actually wanted to give a shout out to...
Do you have your mic on?
Who needs a mic?
We need a Jimmy.
I do. I wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Pasca and Tara Kinsella. I got to sit in on the policy pre-meeting last month, and it was amazing getting to see all these behind-the-scenes things that they're doing. Every policy that goes through, Tara is like changing the formatting to make it more ADA compliant. And Dr. Pasco was able to explain to me how, like, when one thing changes, it can change 6 other policies in that same moment. And so it's basically they get to go through and run down all these webs and create the policy agenda for us. And it was really impressive to get to see.
Yes.
Thank you.
I can actually go get her now, if he wants to just turn around. Sorry, coordinating getting my daughter picked up. I was able to drive the car tonight. I can get myself to and from places occasionally. It's so cold, though. And she'd make me drive it, She'd be like, I'll take the car, Mom. It's safer. You take the moped. Okay. I have no board comments, except the students being here earlier was fantastic. I think sometimes we get we get such a balcony level view of what happens in the district that we not necessarily lose sight of the kids, but we certainly, I think, occasionally can lose sight of their enjoyment and their smiles, and it's nice to see them right in front of us. I'm glad we were able to get a picture of them with our new district sign. You know, you can just, the wheels are moving, and it's nice when it comes in here and we're able to see it. But I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Who was that again? No, I did. Okay, so on the motion to adjourn, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, and anybody opposed? Okay, we are adjourned at 9:14.